Hello, Boone.
Hi, Weiwu.
We are waiting for other members to join. How are you?
I'm good. Tor is here.
Hello.
Hi, Tor.
Hello.
This is the first time you're back from holiday, right?
No, I was also here last week.
Pardon?
I was also at the meeting last week.
You were in the last meeting last week, right? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And last week, we wanted to arrange a meeting with you and James Brown on how to insert the attestation-related code into James Brown's code base. And James Brown said that he was too busy. So I took it on myself to study the code structure in this part and ask for James Brown's permission that this is the part that I want to change. And he kind of said, okay. So I'm going to point out where the code is and how we are going to change it, so that we can connect to attestations.
Okay.
And then let's wait for James Brown for a while. And if he doesn't show up, I will point you to the code that he said yes to me, and hope he didn't deny it later. Hello, Sunil.
Hey, Weiwu.
Hi, well, we know about James Brown.
Yep, let's wait for him. And also, James Sangali was mentioning about something about the agenda, right? So it would be great when if we can start with the agenda when James Brown joins.
Did you say that James Sangali has agenda?
Yes, James Sangali was asking what would be the agenda today in the group channel. So
Okay.
if you can, yeah.
Share him. It's in the forum. Can you see the forum post about today's meeting?
Yeah, got it.
Able to follow that agenda. That agenda was the items that we didn't fail to do in the previous meeting, stacking up. But today we might also talk about implementation, not only the design. And in terms of implementation, we will touch how James Brown is going to work with Paul and me on getting attestation working for Android.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so when do you think we should, James Brown, hi. James Brown, hello.
Hi. So, what's on the list today?
Okay, so I want to touch a little bit about implementation too. So the design agenda is on the messaging you can see in the chat group. But I think we will only choose a few design items in it because I really want to make some time to talk about implementation.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the. I hope I can eliminate a few shortest agenda on the agenda list, so we can make progress on some design agenda. Then we go to implementation as quickly as possible. Specifically implementation of attestation. So I think we probably will not talk about deck today. The first item. Are you seeing the same page as I'm seeing? Yes. I can share the screen. Hello? Can you hear me?
Just
yes.
You guys can see the screen, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, so the first agenda item is a little bit too big. I think we should fit a specific TokenScript meeting for it. But to put briefly, there are a few candidate methods of implementing a deck. And my favorite method is to use expect. So expect work in such a way that if you have a token card, you can write expect, which is a condition for this token to work. And then any card that can satisfy that expectation is able to form a deck with you. So for example, if you want to deposit your DAI into compound, then one of the conditions is that the compound code token is approved as to operate DAI contract on behalf of the user. Then you can write that expectation into the card. That is deposit DAI into C DAI requires expects that it was authorized already, approved already, and a approved card can serve the approving function if it writes its anticipated effect. So every card has effect and every card has expect, and as long as they connect, they are used in the deck. In the simplest sense, the attestation is made in a similar way, but I don't have the code to demonstrate, and it's going to be a lengthy discussion on choosing which is the best design approach. So I think we will skip this one. Just give you a head up what this is about. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. The second item is by default we have this ordering in token card and in cards, which was ordered simply because the default option is they are ordered. But I feel that it doesn't make sense to enforce the order. I couldn't think about a good reason why we should enforce order. So I'm proposing allow random orders in elements, in tokens and in cards. So in the card, so if you have a token, you can define the card before or after attributes or origins. And in the inside card, you can define input, output, or expect and effect, or output, or even card attributes and views in any random order. What do you think? And how much randomness we should allow?
I agree that we shouldn't specify an order to put things in. It makes it less susceptible to people getting it wrong.
It was not intended decision that currently is ordered. It's simply that when you make a schema for XML file, it's by default ordered, unless you specify it's random is allowed. So I didn't decide for it, but it's the current situation. What do you think, Boone?
Why not keep the order?
Okay, so you prefer to have the order, but you prefer to have a current order or change a little bit?
The current one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one reason is one reason that is not necessary to support random order is when you build the file, it should tell you that it's wrong.
But it's also confusing when you build the file. It says this is not expected. Expected is, and you don't get expected is as a single one. You get a list of things because many of them are omittable.
We can wait until someone complains.
Sangali already complained.
Oh, okay. Well, if he complained, then let's fix it.
Okay. Basically, he said that why this doesn't work, and I look at it and said you put it in the wrong order, and he says, why the hell do you need an order for this? And I said I didn't decide for it, just default. So that's how this came to the list actually in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting it wrong ourselves, then like other people are definitely going to get it wrong. And if somebody can't get it working within a certain amount of time, then they'll probably give up and do something, roll their own or something.
Yes.
Well, okay.
We have to make it as forgiving as we possibly can.
Yeah, to an extent, like cards still have to have a name.
Yes, yes, to an extent, obviously, yeah. But if there's a way to make it more forgiving, then we should probably do that.
Okay, so this is an easy item. We consumed one item just now. Framework for defining multiple tokens described in one contract. This is a topic of a good 30 minutes, so we cannot do this. Action-only TokenScript should use either token or cards, and it should not use a card as root element. I think this is an easy decision. Like when we want to make an action-only TokenScript, we use the card as a root element, which means there can only be one action. So cards is more reasonable, I guess, if you want an action-only TokenScript. And we only have one, which is so far the X style, so it's easy to change if we want to decide otherwise. And we don't even need to change the schema because by default, any root element, any element defined in schema is able to be used as root unless specified otherwise.
Can you remind us what's the difference between action-only TokenScript and a normal TokenScript?
Sorry, your question?
Can you remind us what's the difference between an action-only TokenScript and a normal one?
Oh, we only have one action-only TokenScript, which is convert X die to die, convert die to X die.
So given that as part of activities, we want to be able to support a base template like ERC20 and then be able to override it.
Oh, that's the
does it
second
mean that we can use? Yeah, but does it mean that we can use the same mechanism and do away with action-only TokenScript?
Okay, so then we dive this topic a little bit. I hope we can quickly close this and have a little bit of time to discuss implementation. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so let's talk about this. I will write a title. Okay, so we talked about this very briefly in the last TokenScript meeting. That is how to access the inputs, right? So we say that in a card there are two namespaces. One is the card attribute, the other is the token attribute, right? That is for a simple TokenScript. But if you have input, then the input is provided in its own namespace. So you have a so just think that previously we have a token attribute supplied by update function as a single chunk of data, but now you might be able to provide more than one parameter for that update. Depends on how many inputs you have. So previously update token card error callback, right? Previously it's like this, right?
No error callback.
Oh, no error callback. Yeah.
Token and card are together.
Together. We decided to put them together.
The card is the ID. As in, can you change the word token to data?
Data?
Just make up something. Yeah. So you can access token by token, data.token and data.card.
Oh, so it's not like this. I thought okay, if this is what we agreed on, sometimes I forget things myself. Then it's more tricky because previously we can count the number of parameters to decide how many input tokens are there. But now we have token 1. Yeah, because input token can be many. And if you with the action only token script, you only get action cards, so you need to associate it with the token through input, which gets you something like this.
Why not inputs?
Inputs. You mean this?
Plural.
Right?
Yes. 0 and 1.
Yeah. That would do.
JavaScript.
Yeah, okay, we can do that. So that's the action only token script. So what I propose is simply that allows cards to be the root element and change the example so that there can be more than one card in one action only token script. That's a small one. I thought we can finish the conversation about it. The other one about using ERC20 as a template, as a library, that's related to this one because it also concerns how do you get the token, some kind of token definition like token activity stuff, right? So I think we cannot finish this one today, but I can write it here. Okay. So this is something I propose. That is, first, we already know that we already said that we want to use distinct. We already said last time that we want to use distinct to define tokens. The idea is you have a distinct token attribute, and the amount of unique values in that attribute is the amount of tokens you have. Do you guys remember that discussion?
Yes.
Yeah, it has a few benefits. We were discussing that last time, so I won't repeat. This time I'm arguing that one is necessarily going to retire origins for tokens, because now the tokens the number of tokens and the existence of tokens is no longer decided by origins. And my proposal is we use origins for introducing a lot of token attributes in one go. So right now, if we have a token attribute, I will do this GitHub. I find it in the examples. I think it's not this one. Yeah, there's one. Okay. Okay. So right now we can have a lot of attributes, and they're defined here. For example, borrowing balance principle. It is originated from Ethereum core. Where's the select? Oh yes, this is the code that should be if we didn't use a fallback. So here, look at these lines. Okay. So you make a smart contract function call is specified, and then there's a select which selects, and there is a type which is called user reserve data. That is the type of the return data. The type is defined here, from line 22 to line 36. And then what you do is to select from the return data structure, and that value becomes the value of the attribute. So if we introduce origin, then it will be like this. If we introduce origin and use it in the same way as we use it in the card, then it will be like this. Okay, so inside the token card, you have recently my keyboard keeps producing double characters. Okay, something like this. That is, you have a token and you have origins, and inside of which there is a contract or there is a attestation the same. Then you get data from the smart contract function call, and instead of using select, the entire data set provided by the type are taken in as token attributes. So in case of this AAVE debt token, then there is no need to define any attributes, because this origin would introduce all of the 12 attributes in one go. And you cannot get rid of the syntax of introducing a single attribute anyway. So this will coexist. The reason you cannot get rid of it is sometimes you need to fetch data from a nearby contract, like the ETH price oracle. Make sense?
So within origins, you can make more than one call?
Well, I think we don't. It's either a call followed by a attestation, or a call, just a call. Or if it's a virtual token, then it's a call to the website. Because we expect the type to be custom defined, and they probably will grow. It already grow in terms of attestation, because you can add another field to it and just change the schema. In the smart contract, maybe not so. Only the upgradable smart contract is able to upgrade to return more data. But once they do, it's hard to guarantee that there's no namespace overlap. I know the same problem exists if you define a single attribute, but I think it's a lesser extent.
Are you saying that there's a namespace clash when if we allow making more than one call?
Oh, that might be the case, because with this origin call, every data, every member of the type user reserved data will register as a new token attribute. If you have two,
and you can call it. But you can call it whatever you want when you define the name type.
Yes, but the thing is, it's not sure if you get it. Like it's the same old problem, interoperability problem. Somebody's smart contract starts to return more data, and you have to deal with it. But I guess in the original case, it's more likely you own the smart contract, right? Okay.
I don't follow. I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Okay, so let's step back one step. So data module was designed so that you can have it's getting past time. I want to implement this. Can we do this next time? This I think sure. I thought this is a short topic, but now we cannot finish this anymore, and it's reasonable because this is a delicate topic. Can we move this to the next one so we can at least talk a little bit about the implementation?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I was about to explain the module and how module would import would work, and how that is important for a scenario like DVP, but that would really drag on. So I will just save it here as pending rethinking. Okay, and let's go back to the. If we can decide on a few things, already really good. Yeah, the original business distinct, we will not have time to use this, address this. Finally, on this list, the tokenization guide project is going on as part of the document stream. I feel this work is interesting for us here, because if you have use cases, it's easier to make your to think your design in the context of use cases. So this is a welcome letter for, it's a suggestion for any team member to join the document workshop, which happens every week right after this meeting. It has been going on for 5 to 10 times, and some works are created from it. I know this one is really old. The first one is actually created in 2018, but this one is new, like the door token. And I think James Brown is especially interested in that one too. If you want to, the meeting starts at 8 o'clock every Thursday and ends in 9 o'clock every Thursday. Typically, Christoph and Lucas will be active in the meeting, where they go and look at use cases of tokenization with DeFi as well as outside of DeFi, as long as there's a business case to be made out of it, and then create tokenization scenarios from there. So this is an announcement. Would anyone of you be interested in this?
I can go for a bit, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So back to the last point of integration of implementation. Tor, I think this is what we decided last time, but I want to reiterate it so everybody's on the same page. First, that there is a JavaScript API for creating data objects as well as reading data object. The reading one is discussed in the last meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the writing one is actually discussed a few meetings back, but documentation was not very well written yet. But it's already on the forum post, and the documents will be following really soon. The writing interface is the discussion of yeah. So this is a thread where the creation of an data object is here. So what we agreed previously was, number one, that the data objects are available for the web as well as TokenScript to read. And second, data objects are created based on a type in the module. And that creation process is done through JavaScript. And the validation of a blob of data and whether or not it conforms to a module is likely done in JavaScript too. So when the data object is passed to Android or iOS, it's already encoded and waiting to be signed according to the attestation format that we standardized. We have draft standard from Tor based on X509. So JavaScript reads. We have JavaScript API for TS to read data object. We have JavaScript API for TokenScript cards to construct data object. The Android and iOS does not care about how object is made. It simply takes an already made object and sign it if you need it. If it's needed to render that object by fields, iOS and Android will call the corresponding JavaScript API in order to render them, in order to understand the data object and render them. That's the first point. I think that was what we already agreed on, right?
One question. When you refer to something is done in JavaScript, are you referring to it running in the web view, or are you also talking about running it directly in the TokenScript engine, for example, in our wallet using JavaScript?
At the first prototype, I'm asking Barrett to create, after our previous discussion that pushes the responsibility of creating data object to JavaScript was done in the web view. But I envision this code will be needed to be run outside of web view too. For example, in order to display the data object in the action sheet.
Yes, I asked because if we generate the
maybe
block,
the data object is used in activity, which
yes, I asked because if I asked because if we generate the blob entirely in the web view, would there be any security concern?
Yes, yes,
so yes, yeah, exactly. That's also, I was thinking exactly the same here. Yeah, the issue is it's like, of course, there's not an issue if it's already running within the app on iOS or Android, because then we know that JavaScript itself is trusted and we can trust the object that results from this. But if it comes from an arbitrary web page or web view that's just simply sent to the app to be signed, where the app doesn't care what's in it, that's that's a problem.
Yeah, of course, that's right. So we implemented in web view because we don't know how to implement it otherwise. I don't want to think too much about it until a web view implementation is available, and then port it to somewhere outside. Basically,
yeah, it makes sense as a good first step. Yeah.
Well, I want Barrett to create something without getting him his hands dirty with mobile phone. So all his work is only purely on the web. He doesn't touch mobile phone until he created something, and then we ask him to port it into mobile phone. Then we right now Barrett is already like doing quite well. But if I think if I load more information to him, it will not work as well. So take steps. Yeah, that's my answer.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and then apparently there will be JavaScript interface for TokenScript engine, Alpha Wallet, and in Android and iOS to obtain some key data in the data object. And this is the first thing. Implementation-wise, for this to work, I'm doing part of the refactoring here, which is called signable. So this is done on Android. So the goal is previously a message to be signed in Alpha Wallet Android is just a message, which is just a string with a few formatting related. I'm creating an interface called signable, and then try to make Alpha Wallet Android use signable. And later, when we do a testation, we can use the signable interface to create a testation and hope the Android code will handle the signing accordingly. And this is how I think how testation related code, the implementation of TORS draft standard is going to be done through implementing signable interface. And it's still a work in progress because signable, I only replaced a bit of it and replaced the code that with the message with the signable interface. I still have to enrich it so that later it can handle the things related to attestation. For example, in the attestation, the signing algorithm is inside the to be signed data. And that necessarily will mean that we need to extend this. So what I did is I moved the signable interface and all of the classes that implements this interface into the lib folder, from the app folder into the lib folder library, so that I can later share this and make it possible for Tor to work on accepting an attestation, signing, verifying attestation by purely working the lib library and test cases instead of doing the debugging on Android phone, and later connect it back to the Android when Barrett's work of JavaScript API is done. So there are two streams of works. Barrett continue work on JavaScript API, which is purely on the web. He does all the work on the web without touching the iOS or Android code. And then Tor works on what Android needs to do by test cases and by the source code in the lib folder. Everything Tor works on goes into the lib folder, not into the Alpha Wallet Android. And when both streams of work is done, we ask an expert, James Brown probably, to hook the web code and the lib code and make them work in Android. That's how I plan to play the Lego.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I will write a separate email to once I've done this part of the refactoring, so that Thunderbolt is used in Alpha Wallet Android. I will pass you the location of the files, and then we should be able to do that. Also, Barrett needs probably will need some data object that is already encoded to check if his code is correct. This will happen three-way between me and Tor and Barrett in a separate email discussion or maybe the forum discussion. Just to build test cases that works for both sides, which can allow later merging them together. Yeah. So I think that's the implementation thing we are going to do. That's all good, right?
Yeah. So I think we already have some test code from like the reference implementation I did for the check protocol, which I also verified a bit, like against passing, basically passing an attestation as an X509, that like an X509 passer still accepts the attestation, and like the implementation could use the specific information of the attestation as well. So I think that one's pretty easy to get.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. Let's plug that to the Thunderbolt interface once I tweaked it. Yeah. I think that's the implementation detail. Actually, we still have 5 minutes, so maybe we come back to the agenda. Okay, so how do I put this? Boon, can we go back to the topic where I paused, which is about who owns the data module? So let's say there is a car token, and what can happen is that the module, the car's data module, can be provided by let's say a standard organization, which contains necessary information like the car vehicle number, for example, and that can be imported into any contracts who wants to produce a token related to car use.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah, yeah. So the ASNX data module was originally designed to be a pluggable module with important stuff, but we never managed to practice the import syntax in our TokenScript. Yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe we only allow one if we actually do allow it. But which one? Then it's still a problem.
Then I have a suggestion if it's important. What about using the dot syntax?
That might work. That means we have an attribute which is which uses certain data type, and in that attribute we use origins, where it means that is the attribute origin. So it will be like this. And I think that's probably a safer way to do this, like this versus this token. Okay, and we have this. Yeah. So this would be closer to what you mean, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is a viable
You also avoid name.
Pardon?
This will also avoid name clashes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's hold on to this, and next week look at this again. And if we still think it's feasible and all the use cases that comes to my mind can use this, we will fix it next time. And the way we look at whether or not the design fits the use case is to also work with document group and tokenization use case study. Victor has produced a tokenization, what he calls tokenization framework on how to tokenize anything. That was I think that's a pretty good document, but it's not publicly shared. And it's the way it is written is not suitable for public sharing either. But Victor already had a meeting with us and showed his framework of thinking on how to tokenize it and how would, from the aspect of how would a business benefit from tokenizing anything, how would individual benefit from tokenizing anything, and what are the obstacles, and what are the needed the dependencies for technical dependencies as well as organizational dependencies, so that if there is a tokenization idea, it can be fit into this and quickly figure out what has to be done in order to implement it and what the benefits. That is done through the last documentation session, I think, or some kind of documentation and discussion session, which I hope later expand to this group as well. But so far, if you're interested, we have 15 minutes of rest, and the document workshop will start by 8 p.m.
Is it the same link?
I don't know. Sunil, is this same link?
It is a different link. I'll share it in our chat.
Okay, good. It was not on Thursday though. It became on Thursday before, recently. Previously, it was on a different time slot. I forgot which day in the week.
Yeah, previously it was on Tuesdays. Then just for this week, we moved it to Wednesday and then Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So good.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.